Welcome to Reddit Tea Time. My best friend John and I have been friends since we were kids. As kids, we were very close and we had a fake wedding when we were 7 and 8. In high school, we recreated the fake wedding pics and he had one of those pics in his wallet. Since he got with his girlfriend Dinah around 2 years ago, John has distanced himself from me. We still hang out, but I feel like he always makes time for Dinah first instead of me. The only way I can see him now is if we go grab coffee once every few days, but other than that, he won't come to my house when we used to have sleepovers and movie nights and won't invite me to his house either. I feel neglected and hurt because we've been inseparable since we were small kids. A couple of days ago, I grabbed coffee with him at a coffee shop, and when he opened his wallet to grab his card and pay, I noticed he had put a pic of him and Dinah in the place he had our fake wedding pic. I asked him about it and pointed out how I noticed, to which the only thing he said was, "What about it?" I was like, really? Why did you have to take our picture out and replace it with him and Dinah? He said Dinah is his girlfriend and he doesn't understand why I'm making such a big deal about it. I reminded him she might be his girlfriend, but he can't just throw me away. I've been his best friend since primary school. My pic existed in his wallet first, and he throws it away to replace me with someone he knows significantly less? He got annoyed and told me that once I stop being an immature, annoying brat, he'll talk to me again. Until then, I better leave him to his peace because he's not dealing with my childish tantrum. Am I the bonehead here? Now for some comments. OP said he always makes time for Dinah first instead of me. Holy entitled guacamole, Batman. I could have stopped here and known you're the bonehead. You're not his wife or his girlfriend. His partner should come before you regardless of your history together. You're the bonehead. Why would you think a childhood photo of you pretending to get married should take precedence of him with his actual girlfriend? Properly bizarre expectation on your side. I feel like he always makes time for Dinah instead of me. That's how romantic relationships work. Their time together comes first, not his time with his friends. Why did he have to take our picture out and replace it with him and Dinah? Because that's how romantic relationships work. Her picture comes first, not a friend's. He got annoyed and told me that once I stop being an immature, annoying brat, you're the bonehead and he's right. You're the bonehead and I'm not even referencing the photo. I'm referencing how you're clearly in love with your friend and jealous of his new partner. Time for therapy so you can get over this person and move on with your life. You understand the difference between platonic and romantic relationships, right? Because you're behaving like your boyfriend is neglecting you, which is probably why your friend and his actual girlfriend decided that it was best that he didn't continue having sleepovers with you. You're the bonehead. First, you're not in a relationship with John. Second, your wedding wasn't real. Third, it is beyond clear to everyone reading this post that you have feelings for John, and I'm going to wager a guess that you stomp all over his relationship boundaries, which is why he pulled back from the friendship. No man in a committed relationship is going to have sleepovers with another woman. To expect that to continue to happen is ludicrous. Fifth, the fact that you accused him of throwing you away again tells everyone reading this that you are in love with John and are jealous of his relationship with Dinah. Dinah is his number one priority in his life. Your friendship is no longer a priority in his life. It happens. Deal with it. Not all friendships last into adulthood, and you just made it exponentially easier for him to walk away from this friendship by refusing to admit you are jealous that all the attention he used to give you now goes to someone else. You're the bonehead. My sister Lauren had a pretty wild youth. I did too, so no judgment on my part. When Lauren was 18, she got pregnant and chose to get an abortion. This was her wake-up call. She went to college, later got a great job, and found her husband. They had a daughter, Roxy, who is now 17. Roxy is a very studious and responsible young woman, but this is in no doubt to how hard her parents are on her. Lauren has said several times that she doesn't want Roxy to end up like her, which I understand, but I've also told her that she can't be so hard on her. Let her make mistakes and guide her through them versus yelling. Roxy found out she was pregnant in March. Lauren and her husband reacted horribly. I have a daughter who is of similar age, and I know I wouldn't be thrilled either. However, Lauren and her husband took it too far, in my opinion. They shamed her, told her she's a disgrace. They said even if she got an abortion or gave the baby up for adoption, they found her irresponsible and didn't want her around. They kicked her out. Roxy's boyfriend's parents did the same. The two are now living with my family. This has been incredibly hard on Roxy. She plans on raising the baby but keeps saying she feels like a failure. I never knew how truly bad Lauren was, but she's always called Roxy horrible names and made her feel like she wasn't good enough. I finally told Roxy all about her mom's past and told her that Lauren had no right to talk. I prefaced this by saying this isn't what made Lauren a bad person, and I don't shame her, but used it as Lauren has no moral high ground. Roxy called Lauren and called her out on her hypocrisy. My extended family is mad at me. Most aren't happy with Lauren but say it wasn't my place to spread her business. Apparently, her husband didn't know about her past either and is calling her a liar, etc. My parents and other family members say I should have kept my mouth shut. Edit. Please stop asking me what their plans are, what jobs they have, are they truly prepared, etc. Not the point of this post, nor any of your business or concern. You don't know these kids or their lives. I know their situation. It won't be easy, but it's what it is. I can't force her to get an abortion. Stick to the topic at hand. Thank you. Now for some comments. Not the bonehead. Don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. My God, how awful for your niece. Thankfully, she has you to support her in her choices. This is a hard place for any 17 or 18-year-old to be, regardless of their final decision. For her mother to be so horrible, especially having gone through similar herself, is truly awful. Good for you for sharing her mother's story. Normally, I would say not your place, but in this specific instance, it feels necessary to help your niece. Not the bonehead. Your niece has just had her world turned upside down, and your sister has practically abandoned her for doing the same thing she did at her age. One thing some parents don't get is that by putting so much pressure on their kids so they don't make the same mistakes, it drives them to rebel and screw up. The fact that your sister hid her past from her husband for over 17 years says a lot about your sister. You've gone above and beyond by taking in your niece and her boyfriend, and they seem to be showing maturity and responsibility by wanting to actually raise the child. I'm assuming the boyfriend wants to do so, seeing as he's with her. Your niece deserves to know that everyone can make mistakes and your extended family are wrong for not helping out. You did right by your niece but burned your sister. You blew up your sister's marriage. Well, she blew up her own marriage with lies. Not the bonehead. It's so sad that women like your sister feel so much shame about their past. She wishes she made different choices, but that doesn't mean she has to be so hard on her daughter. I hope the two of you can reconcile and both support your niece. Not the bonehead. Your sister's a hypocrite, an abusive one by the sounds of it. You put a confused and ashamed pregnant 17-year-old who has been treated appallingly by her parents first for what sounds like the first time in her life. Thank you, OP. I can't believe your extended family is mad at you for telling a 17-year-old who has been shamed by her mother for a teen pregnancy that her mother was in the same position herself.
So, I hate speeches. I never understood the appeal. I think they're boring, exhausting, and very forced, but having said that, this is just my opinion and I never forced it on anyone. I've sat through long, excruciating speeches without complaining like any other decent human being. When it was my turn to get married, however, I requested no speeches. We wrote that we loved everyone and that we knew they loved us, so if you want to say something, say it to us directly in private. My husband thought it was funny, but he knew my feelings about speeches. We had a small wedding with only loved ones. It was weekend long. My husband loves games, so the wedding planner did a really great Taskmaster type of games and everyone appreciated it. Dinner came and Mills stood up and started saying, I know we're forbidden from making speeches by the bride, but this is my only son getting married, so I'll say what I want to. I didn't hear the rest because I was seeing red. My sisters and bridesmaids were shocked. I pretended like she wasn't talking and continued my conversation with my girls. They did the same. Mill was furious. Both Sills were furious, and my husband was very angry that it showed in his profile. He refused to look at me. The rest of the night was awkward with my husband's side sulking in their seats. I wanted to make sure it wasn't ruined for the rest of us, and we ended up having a blast. Best day I spent with my family and friends. My husband said I was very wrong in what I did. I couldn't force Mill to shut the F up, and he knew she wouldn't, no matter how much we told her. I shouldn't have disrespected her like this. Our marriage started on the wrong foot, it seems. Am I the bonehead? P.S. Mill loves making speeches, sometimes 15 minutes long and not unusually mean speeches, disguised as humor that often isn't appreciated by all. Now for some comments. Well, that's unfortunate that the day you got married you found out your husband's always going to pick his mom over you. Such disrespect from Mill, not the bonehead. OP replied to the comment saying, I really hope not. He's always said his mom is stubborn, etc., and that she did what she wanted. For me, it's no problem as long as she's willing to take the consequences of her stubbornness. I didn't know it meant that the rest of us should lay flat. Soft, everyone sucks here. She did the one thing you told her not to do, but it's not all about you. Your husband is another person and has a family of people as well, and you were petty to them. I would have just left the room with the friends. But then again, she was rude to you, firing the first shot while acknowledging that she was blatantly ignoring your wishes. Yeah, everyone sucks here. Mill is entitled, I'll do what I want, and sucks a heck of a lot more, but everyone sucks. Not the bonehead. Your husband has no backbone, and worse, he didn't back you up. You have every right to have your wishes respected. Then your Mill had the audacity to call you out. You're going to have a heck of a time setting boundaries with that one. Good luck. Everyone sucks here. Your husband for not standing up to you during the wedding planning and saying that he wanted his mother to give a speech at his wedding, which in my honest opinion is totally reasonable. Mill for crossing the boundary. You for being rude AF in front of everyone. I'm going to go with you're the bonehead on this one. Sure, the Mill shouldn't have been making a toast at your wedding because you asked everyone not to. She was a mini bonehead herself. Here's the thing. It's incomprehensible to me that you would be this rude to your future Mill on your wedding day. I get wanting to be in charge of your big day and it being all about you and what you want, but there are some things that simply aren't done. If she wasn't actively saying insulting things and was trying to give her best wishes, why would you do this? I know you said, loves making speeches, sometimes 15 minutes long, and not unusually mean speeches disguised as humor, but neglected to say her speech on your and your husband's wedding day was one such speech. I believe if it was, you would have stated that loud and clear in your post. Also, sometimes is not always, and 15 minutes is certainly bearable for a formal occasion. Your petty little mean girl power move might end up causing ripples that impact you being accepted by his family, invitations to family functions as the years roll on, and even future inheritances, not only by his parents but other members of his family who witnessed your behavior. Humiliating your husband's mother and by extension your husband on his wedding day was simply not a very bright decision on your part. It's interesting that my husband was very angry that it showed in his profile he refused to look at me. Mill was furious, both Sills were furious, and my husband sighed sulking in their seats. You described the rest of the night as awkward but stated, I wanted to make sure it wasn't ruined for the rest of us and we ended up having a blast. WTF? Was this an arranged marriage? I only ask because you seem actively hostile not only to your Mill but his entire family. There's a real us versus them attitude in your post. It feels almost like you think the wedding and reception were solely for your own enjoyment and gratification. It takes two to get married. At a bare minimum, once you realize that your new husband was upset, you should have zipped your lips. I'll just hit on one more thing. Literally not allowing anyone to toast you or your husband on the wedding day simply because you find long toasts boring is the epitome of immaturity. I bet your husband woke up regretting a few things the morning after the wedding.
What do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. If you liked this story and you've made it this far, please consider subscribing. I really appreciate you spending your valuable time with me. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next Reddit story.